Today's headline is already ruffling feathers and setting tongues wagging across Pretoria. Today we are talking about Zimbabweans in South Africa staging an illegal protest in Pretoria in support of Zanu PF. Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is a video and picture news about Zimbabweans in SA staging an illegal protest in Pretoria in support of Zanu PF. Make sure you watch till the end to see the sources and try to verify this news for yourself. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. So here's what's gone down. In the heart of Pretoria, a group of Zimbabwean nationals gathered for a demonstration that local authorities and observers are calling illegal. The protest was in support of the ruling Zanu PF party in Zimbabwe. The fact that it took place in South Africa, away from the usual hotspots of protest inside Zimbabwe, means it has raised a number of legal and diplomatic concerns. According to eyewitnesses, the gathering was public, loud, and drew attention to the complex interplay between migrant communities, home country politics, and South Africa's regulatory environment. Sources report that the protest used loudspeakers, banners showing Zanu PF support and slogans that many found controversial given that demonstrators were operating outside the usual South African protest frameworks. Citations, social media posts. What makes this story even more interesting is the way the demonstration challenges borders, not just geographical ones but legal and political ones. Migrants, especially Zimbabweans in South Africa, often focus on issues like work permits, residency, and integration. But here, politics of their home country followed them across the border. The fact that supporters of Zanu PF chose Pretoria as a staging ground suggests many possibilities, perhaps frustration with conditions back home, perhaps a desire to be seen in a host country, or perhaps something else entirely. Whatever the motive, the fact remains that the protest was flagged as illegal because it did not comply with South African protest regulations, did not have known permits, and appeared to be driven by home country politics rather than South African civic issues. Citations, social video from Pretoria. Residents in Pretoria have spoken about how they noticed the demonstration. One local told the channel that they were surprised to see flags and banners of Zanu PF on their streets and engines of cars slowing down to watch. For many, it was unsettling to realize that the political tensions they associate with Zimbabwe could spill into their own suburb. Some locals worried about public safety, potential xenophobic backlash or misunderstandings. Others were simply puzzled, why here, why now, and why Zanu PF in South Africa? On the legal side, the big question is whether the protest violated the law in South Africa. South African law requires permits for public gatherings, especially those with political intent and foreign nationals participating. Demonstrations that are set up, organized or influenced from outside South Africa can raise red flags around foreign interference, national sovereignty and crowd control. Officials monitoring street protests in Pretoria say they are investigating whether the organizers obtained the necessary permissions or whether the gathering was indeed unsanctioned and thus illegal. Political analysts observe that this is not just about a protest, it is about the way migrant communities carry attachments, loyalties, and political engagements across borders. Zimbabweans in South Africa often send money home, follow politics back home, engage in diaspora networks but are also subject to South African law. When those networks choose to act publicly, for example by organizing a march in support of Zanu PF, the host country must balance rights to free expression with public order, permit requirements, foreign interference regulation and community safety. For the participants in the protest, the stakes are both political and personal. Some may feel disenfranchised back home, others may support Zanu PF for ideological or practical reasons, and some may simply want to make a statement. But by staging the event in Pretoria without apparently following local regulation, they risk police sanction, disruption of community relations and possible enforcement or deportation if they are undocumented. Also, the optics for South Africa are tricky, a country with its own migrant tensions, historical xenophobic episodes and complicated immigration system. From the perspective of South African authorities, this demonstration raises pressing questions: how to monitor foreign nationals' political activism inside South Africa, how to ensure public gatherings comply with local laws, how to manage potential backlash from local communities, and how to keep the balance between freedom of expression and public order. In other words, the protest is as much a challenge for South African civic governance as it is a reflection of Zimbabwean diaspora politics. On a broader level, this incident also touches on how politics back home in Zimbabwe interact with diaspora populations. The ruling Zanu-PF party has a long and contentious history. Its supporters and detractors both operate inside Zimbabwe and beyond. The fact that supporters would gather in Pretoria suggests that they felt safe, organized and visible enough to make a public declaration. It also shows how modern migrations don't always mean leaving politics behind, they often mean transporting them into new contexts. Moving forward, many expect that South African police and municipal authorities will investigate whether the demonstration was permitted, whether it was funded or organized by external actors, and whether there are other planned gatherings. Also, they will monitor whether such protests spark local reactions, either favorable or hostile. For the Zimbabwean community living in Pretoria, this moment might trigger closer scrutiny of their public political actions, and possibly more caution in how they engage with home country politics in a host country. For you watching this now, here are some questions to think about. What is your view on foreign nationals engaging in public protests in South Africa about politics back home? Do you believe it should be treated more strictly, or more leniently? Have you seen or heard of similar demonstrations in your area? And if you are part of the Zimbabwean diaspora or any foreign community, how do you feel about political activism in your host country? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you're kept up to date whenever we bring verified reports and thoughtful discussion about local and national issues. And now, just to lighten things a little, I'm thinking maybe the next time supporters of Zanu-PF choose Pretoria, they'll bring sunscreen and snacks because someone told me Pretoria sun doesn't mess around, and maybe they'll turn the next demonstration into a flash dance just so they can go viral on TikTok. Joke aside, politics is serious, but sometimes a little humor helps us handle it. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. News sources: social media posts from Pretoria protest, IOL News.